Balete City will be a journey on how you achieve progress as a babaylan, which includes syempre different skill set yan or leveling na tinatawag. Una, kailangan mong magkaroon ng familiar na pet, kailangan mong matuto ng herbal medicine, kailangan mong matuto ng spell casting, kailangan mo ding matuto on how to connect with the gods. And then later on to tawag dito, mag-summon ng mga spirits, ganun. So it's gonna be a very, very nostalgic journey na yun lang naman ang i-offer namin talaga. It's where it's a telling of a story and you feel like it came from, it's done, it is Philippines talaga. Filipino talaga.
Welcome back to the Comics Cube, everyone. Today I am with Niley Bacolcol. Tama naman, no?
Oo. Hi everyone.
Right. Niley is the developer of the game Balete City. So, hi Niley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we are honored to be here. I am personally honored to be here, and so thank you.
So, ano lang, let's start with the start of the idea. No, how did you come up with the idea for Balete City?
It's actually a long story. It started when I was working with my graduate thesis in University of the Philippines, Baguio. I was studying about the cultures and traditions of the Tiboli group, Tiboli people. Tapos I sobrang na-fell in love ako with regards to their stories, ganyan, mga mythos, ganyan, and yung those characters in their tribe na they consider part of their everyday activities, like in waking up in the morning, and especially when they're weaving their textile. Yung textile, they what they call this one, they treasure it. They treat this as equivalent to gold. So that's how they incorporate those ideas and stories in their lives, actually. So what important concept that I've learned from them is that how they do their textile, what they call, the textile is called tinalak. So they can only weave it when they dream with the gods. So they can never get the design without having the dream. And then after dreaming with the gods, they turn it into mathematical equations so that they could eventually make it out into a physical manifestation of the dream. So that's how let's say complex and fascinating yung culture and mythological stories na meron sa Tiboli people. Then I kept on, parang it was like a seed in my heart, and then it grew and grew, and then I found myself looking for more stories other than the Tiboli group. Then I went to the northern part, to the southern part, then I found out that there are a lot of different stories coming from different groups of the Philippines. What's fascinating about this is that I found like common denomination, or there's like a commonness among the story. It's like a web, spider web, na it's interconnected. Then you would somehow throw a question na how come they could connect even though yung geographically they're separate from, or they're far away from each other. So upon like I'm just growing my database in my mind, ganyan, of these different personalities, different personas, different creatures coming from different origins, and then nag-create siya ng parang how can I say this? It's like a Marvel universe. Like this entity is connected to this entity, and this story is somehow like connected to this story, and until I created my own characters in my mind, and then I felt like the only way to like unload this data from my brain para hindi naman ako mabaliw is to somehow put it into a note. So what better way to put it into a note but to create a story? Kasi I've known that to share something but in a better way is to make it into a story. So I tried, even though I don't have a background in writing, I tried my best to like I'm still working in UAE that time. I tried my best to wake up in the morning and spend like an hour to just write it down, ganyan. Sulat lang ng sulat until I came up with a story. Like it's entitled Balete High. It's based from what I've researched from those past years and continuation na rin nung ginawa kong thesis nung college ako until sabi ko, how would I introduce this to people? Sabi ko, since I'm a fine arts graduate, ano ba yung kaya ko para maisiwalat ito ng mabuti. So I tried to do it into comics. Ganyan. Kasi I was inspired din sa mga personalities in the comics industry, just like Mervin Malonzo, Julius Villanueva. Actually, yung work ni Kael Molo, I was so in love with the work of Sir Kael Molo. Yung Agla. So grabe, how come they can share this kind of stories, these dying stories of the Philippines in such a creative way, in such a fascinating way na they can do it on their own as a comics writer and comics artist. So sabi ko, sige, try natin. Baka naman kaya ko.
Yep.
Yeah. Then I tried it. I made like one chapter of the story that I made. I get a warm welcome din naman sa comics industry. But medyo nahirapan ako personally. I had like a hard time doing it, finishing it because doing a comics is not as easy as I thought. Like you have to like schedule yourself, time management for you to create a page, for you to translate your novel into panels, which is another another science in itself actually. So from the comics itself, sabi ko parang I cannot compete and it's not sustainable for me when it comes to doing it and with regards to my family situation, sa working, sa schedules, it's not feasible for me. So sabi ko, is there any other way na we could contribute to relaying a story, or trying to share those stories that I found when I was researching it into another medium. So I found out na we could do it in game development. So I tried to like level up yung storytelling na yun into game development because ang nangyari niyan, medyo kasi ko skill hungry eh. Whenever I have like a skill that I want to train or to develop, I keep on researching and researching. So I tried to do 3D, I tried to do some of animation, I tried to do character design, I tried to do environment art, I tried to do even programming. Natutunan ko yung blueprint sa Unreal Engine until I realized na, oh, wait, yung mga naipon kong skills, I could actually do something out of it. And doon na nag-mix yung skill na naipon ko from game development and then the story from Balete High. We then turn it into one massive project, which is the Balete City game. So doon na nag-start na lahat, and then I tried to what they call this one, show the public some of my works, yung mga starting, yung mga walking, yung character, yung
mga prototype.
Unang paso, mga prototype ng umpisa. And then merong crowd, the crowd actually started to like it, and we gained some support from the social media. And then some doon na din nabuo yung team, actually the first courting of the Balete City. I found some people that I don't necessarily have a personal connection with. The only common denominator that we have is that we love Filipino mythology and game development. So we nagkaroon kami ng parang ng team ng pagkakaibigan. The friendship was parang doon na nag-cherish, doon na nabuo actually. So until now, so it's been years actually. It's been years.
So when did it start? When did Balete City start being developed?
Started wala kasi kaming wala kasi kaming parang official formal. First of all, you need to be like a company to have an official like roadmap. So right now ang aming mindset or aming principle is like all of us is working after hours.
Yeah.
So we don't set ourselves that ito start na, ito we have to finish like this. Kasi first of all, we don't have that backing pa, kumbaga, official backing. But we're trying to do our best na to come up with some guidelines din na this year sana magkaroon na kami ng demo, this year sana magkaroon na kami ng ganito na goals for ourselves, but it's not strict. So it started siguro of not officially siguro 3 years ago. Ganyan.
Okay.
Then
3 years ago, 2018?
Yeah, 2018. Yung time na lumabas na feature siya sa EBS and then sa GMA nagkaroon ng parang news feature. That time nag-start na kami developing the some of the prototype. But as we go along, as we dig deep, kasi nga hindi naman kami mga experienced or professional game developers, we have found some setbacks na kailangan naming balikan. Lalong-lalo na sa game design document. So, yan yung mga inisa-isa naming balik. Ay, kailangan nating magkaroon ng parang malupit na GDD muna before diving into creating the world, creating the prototype, ganyan. So, ang maganda dyan is that as we go along, we're learning to. Siyempre, we are all newbies sa field, so we have a lot of tawag dito, flaws, problems na pero right now I can say that marami nang napagdaanan. So much has been
labor of love.
Labor of love, parang ganon.
So question, as you know naman diba, last month na-release yung 13 sa Netflix. You know, trended in 19 countries. Obviously yung mga nanonood mostly mga Pinoy and everything really into seeing Filipino representation, Filipino mythology.
Yes.
Why do you think so many fictional works of Philippines go back to traditional mythology? Ano yung appeal ng Filipino mythology? Especially as you say, since yung mythology of other places are all different. So what do you think the appeal is of Filipino mythology?
You know what? It's because of Filipinos is yearning to have an identity. What they call this one? Siguro hugutin ko sa experience ko as an OFW. Like I've been outside the country and then I could see that other countries has like a solid identity, a symbolism ganyan, that you can identify that it is representing them. But when it comes to the Filipino, we are so much westernized. There are so much cultures that we've been adapting that ang nangyayari dyan is that we're losing. We're for kumbaga nakakalimutan natin what ano ba talaga yung marka ng bilang Pilipino, just like the baybayin. When it comes to baybayin, like when you go to Thailand, they use their own writing in the streets, it's all over. When you go to Japan, they have their own character. You can see that they use it everywhere. Ganyan, when you go to Dubai, UAE, you have Arabic writing. So these are examples of progressive countries. They achieve much a lot in terms of development, but still they have this identity that goes hand in hand habang they undergo development. So sa Philippines, anyari sa atin, 'di ba? So it so happened that they've only discovering that we have so much to offer, we have so much to show the world ngayon because of those people that in the forefront, yung mga sa comics artists, ganyan, yung mga sumusulong ng mga baybayin. So dahil ngayon lang din natin nakikita na kumbaga na nagre-resurface yung mga ano, pero matagal na nating gusto talaga na magkaroon ng identity as a Filipino. So that's what I think kung bakit nagiging appealing yung mythology for us.
Yeah, we go back to the time before we were colonized to look for that kind of.
Oo. Yun din kasi kung titingnan natin from the history is that what happened is that a lot of those signs and marks, those symbolism or those identity na meron tayo is nabura nga because of the colonization of Spaniards. So yun din siguro one of the reason na nakalimutan natin kasi wala din sa history books, wala din sa mga common materials, ganyan. Nagugulat na lang tayo na we have this pala na ano. Wow, it's so amazing but ngayon lang.
Yeah, malalaman mo lang kung pumunta ka talaga dun sa more remote places. Yeah. Kasi
not available.
One thing that surprised me was I went to Kiangan twice in my life for a friend's wedding, no. Tapos yung ano nila doon, yung traditions nila doon, you had carrying the pigs and slaughtering the carabao, yung ganun. But one thing I realized was that her aunt kept on referring to the gods. So parang in certain areas, the traditional beliefs never really died. Parang nadagdagan lang ng Catholicism or in the case of Sagada Christianity. So yeah. So
even nga ang isang turning point actually or the motivation, sabi natin pushing factor is that even yung mga kabataan natin, tanungin mo kung sino ang ang kapre, ano ang duwende, they might not even know na. So that's how scary it is na parang supposedly nung mga bata tayo, lahat kilala yung mga stories na yan, yung mga fascinating creatures na yan. But now, yung mga newer generations, di na nila kilala. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to hindi naman immortalize, but at least to put it on public eye. Preserve na rin in terms of
So question, you said the project really started in 2018. So may fanboy question ako. 2018, did a specific video game that was released in 2018 help inspire the decision to make a game? Siguro mga mythological game that was released in 2018. God of War.
Yeah. Oo. Kasi I'm not so sure kung hindi ako ganun ka inform about yung mga latest offering or those published on those year, pero I'm a fan of God of War din talaga. Yeah. And I'm so fascinated on how they incorporated yung mga concepts, yung cultural concepts doon sa mismong laro, 'di ba? It's a very big wow. And even Witcher 3, I don't know if kung anong release date nun, but I am so babad ako sa pagpanonood ng gameplay ng Witcher and God of War actually.
So yung Balete City, ano yung ano niya? What's the concept? What's the premise of Balete City?
Okay, so I don't know how much I could relay now para sa para sa baka pagalitan din ako ng team. But we've done our game design document and we've settled for some skills and game features na ilalagay doon. Ang masasabi ko lang is that we're not trying to reach for the moon and stars. Or we're trying to do it like kung ano yung kaya, and we're trying to find a balance between what we could offer as a Filipino game developer in terms of finding a new feature whatsoever. Yung premise ng game is that it's all about being a babaylan, asog specifically, which is male babaylan. So ang plot ng laro is it's mga 1990s, 1998, mga 2000 gano'n. So it's not so far away from what we have as modern age, but we would like to as millennial, may mga certain what they call this one, certain things na gusto naming i-preserve, yung mga texts, yung mga ringtones, yung mga ano ba, yung mga bagay-bagay.
Sabi ko ng habe, 1998. So before the smartphone.
Before the smartphone, totoo. Yeah. So, syempre, those were the days na marami tayong mga memories na ano. So, yun. So, parang in-adjust namin ng konti yung timeline. Yun. So, that's, tapos, Balete City will be a journey on how you achieve progress as a babaylan, which include, syempre, different skill set yan or leveling na tinatawag. Una, kailangan mong magkaroon ng familiar na pet, kailangan mong matuto ng herbal medicine, kailangan mong matuto ng spellcasting, kailangan mo ding matuto on how to connect with the gods. And then later on to tawag dito, mag-summon ng mga spirits, ganun. So it's gonna be a very, very nostalgic journey na yun lang naman ang i-offer namin talaga. It's where it's a telling of a story, and you feel like it came from it's done, it is Philippines talaga, Filipino talaga.
What is the central conflict? Is there a villain or
of course there is, kasi hindi naman the story wouldn't be as fascinating as it will be kung walang villain. But when it comes to story writing naman, we're tapping some great what they call consultants, mga writers na medyo may mga experience na talaga. So we're connected with someone that will give us some workshop to come up with a unique story, would come up with what they call this one, yung tipong hindi katulad nung sinulat ko dati, kasi nung sinulat ko dati it would be like an amateurish newbie writer, but right now we're trying to hammer it into a professional storyline, ganyan. So ganoon. So
sino yung mga nakukuha yung consultants?
I am not sure if pwede kong banggitin, pero we are lucky to have some what they call mga paano ba natin sabihin dito, well experienced and well professional writers na lumapit sa atin na willing silang i-train na magkaroon ng substance ba yung laro, hindi lang yung for the sake of having a story, for the sake of having ayun nga, na ilalagay doon sa game.
Very cool. So if you were to name an existing game that Balete City will be most like, what would that game be?
Honestly, we don't put solid box for the BCG kasi parang hindi naman sa kinalimutan, kasi we have to have like references on some part of it. But right now, we will parang nandun kami sa experimentation stage on what it feels good, then it feels baka kasi maganda sa paper, sa GDD din hindi naman maganda sa actual. So right now kasi blurry pa yung blurry pa yung reference kung saan mo talaga siya maiko-compare. But what we're trying to review actually, syempre kumukuha kami ng parts na maganda sa God of War, kumukuha kami ng parts na maganda sa Witcher, even yung mga indie games ganyan na magaganda, ganyan. We're trying to distill kung ano nga ba yung parang magiging beneficial when it comes to the gameplay of BCG. So, hindi ko talaga masasabi kung ano siya ngayon. Ano siya ngayon, parang gano'n.
It's okay. The designs. So how are you approaching the designs? So your course was fine arts.
Yeah, fine arts.
Yeah.
With regards to design, dito yung malaking dito yung malaking struggle actually. Kasi when you're making this when you're making a game na ang environment niya is like states or outside the country like Japan or siguro Canada or America, it would be easy to like design it because everything is in the marketplace, everything is available. Pero kapag when you're doing it for the Philippines, like saan ka makakakuha ng mga damo na mukhang sa Pilipinas lang, saan ka makakakuha ng saluyot, kumbaga, na dahon ng saluyot or whatsoever, dahon ng mangga or whatsoever na nasa Pilipinas lang. So, Philippines has very, very unique environment na it evokes Philippines talaga. So, sadly, it's not available in any marketplace. It's either we take an asset free or paid asset from the marketplace and then tweak it or do it our own from the ground up. So that's very, very difficult.
Pero starting from scratch, parang ganun.
Starting from scratch. Pero so far naman dun sa mga nagawa naming demo kasi di naman di pa siya full demo, like siguro teaser lang or labas lang ng mga pinalabas namin sa social media and or those institutions na nag-require us to show them what we got. Okay naman yung mga nagawa namin. Kumbaga yung hard work namin dati na nag-picture kami ng mga damo, nag-picture kami ng mga puno just to make sure that it is a Philippine landscape. So kumbaga we have something that we've started and we're trying to puliduhin pa into yun. So ang dami ko na sabi, no? Parang hindi ko yata nasagot yung question.
Let's talk about the backing. So a project like this, siguro you can't say a whole number, pero how much would it cost to make?
Cost yung the whole project itself. Frankly speaking, when it comes to like the business side of the game, we would need like $5 million to pull it off and to make it a full game in the market. So it involves like 60 plus na staff, a working office with all yung lahat ng mga kailangan, ganyan. So that's the whole sum of the whole game actually. So right now, hindi sa
kasama na salaries doon. Kasama na salaries.
Kasama na yung kasama na yung salaries yun. So that's the whole package na yun yung kailangan para sa mga investors. But frankly speaking, it would be impossible for us to get that money unless we do maayos na game demo. So the strategy that we will be having is that we will try to do a slice of the game first. the demo, the whole demo, and then try to get funding from whoever would be willing to spend that much of a money for the game. Ganyan. Ang proof na ipapakita namin is the playable game demo. So we had some meetings then with some investors na rin for the game, but yun nga, syempre kailangan namin maging pulido kasi to get that much of a funding, kasi hindi naman putyo-putyo pinag-uusapan eh. So this is like a product and it has to be unang-una viable, tsaka pangalawa working. It should be a working product. So in order to prove that, kailangan naming magpresenta ng working gameplay demo. So ganun.
So in order to support your creation of yung working gameplay demo, how can people back the project? Meron kayong Patreon?
Yeah. Oo. So lahat ng channel that can support us, ginawa na namin. And we actually have Patreon. You can find it, may link kang ilalagay whatsoever. Patreon.com Balete City Game. They can donate sa aming coffee.com.balete City Game. May GCash din kami if they wanted to send GCash. Pero syempre mas prefer namin siguro na sa Patreon na lang para recorded kung sino man, and then yung perks then of getting the updates actually sa Patreon.
Right.
Yun.
And then ano pa, how far do you think the demo is from being done?
Yun siguro we would target siguro hanggang next year, ganyan, para right now kasi it's slow pacing development since ako din, it is pandemic times din, tsaka ako din umuwi ako from abroad to Philippines, so I'm still adjusting, and then we're trying to kumbaga find our momentum. We're trying to find our momentum din ulit to para kumbaga gumulong na ulit yung development. But right now it's kumbaga drip nung development. Kasi we cannot force din naman yung mga team members natin since it's hard times, kumbaga. Everyone is surviving. So yun na lang din ang naging support ng BCG. But yun nga, what I am happy is that even though it's pandemic times, continuous pa rin yung development. Kasi yung setup namin dati, even though kahit wala pang pandemic dati, ganito na yung setup namin. So okay lang din.
So when the demo is out, will it be playable by people, or would you just show it to potential backers?
It depends. It depends on how syempre everything has to have like a study of what how would it affects the full development of the game. But syempre marami din kasing naghihintay eh. So we can do something for sa mga naghihintay. Maybe siguro may lagay sa Steam for free or whatsoever, another version of kung ano yung para dun sa mga investors or para dun sa game, parang ganun. So kami din naman, we would like to what they call maipakita na rin kung anong meron kami, but right now kasi gusto din namin ng yung kumbaga maayos na ilalabas. Kung playable demo, we have a playable demo right now, but it's not a slice of the game, kumbaga. So ayun.
Parang very basic mechanics pa lang or something.
Very basic mechanics. So ayun. So that's how some updates from the game.
And in terms of platform, what platforms are you aiming for? Would it be Steam? You mentioned Steam. Would it also be on consoles or
console? I cannot say right away because there is like an equivalent of business study when it comes to releasing some platforms. But ang ma-assure ko is that syempre PC, Steam, that's for sure. But we will try our best to um, release it on other platforms also, like consoles. Pero there is a set of difficulty din kasi in releasing in other platforms. It's like sa PlayStation, we have to like connect to Sony Philippines para mabigyan tayo ng development console, ganyan. And we have to study then yung projected sales and to show it to the investors na these are the platforms that we're aiming for, ganyan. But kung ako tatanungin, I would like to release it on other platforms kasi the more the merrier.
Of course.
The more the merrier. Pero yun nga, may setback each platform na lalabasan mo, you have to compute everything.
Sige. So if anybody wants to support Balete City, I'm putting the links down below this video. Niley, you have anything else you want to say about the game?
Ayun lang. Supportahan nyo lang kami. We are doing our best to come up with something that we love and hopefully mamahalin nyo din. So message us lang sa aming social media sa Balete City Facebook page or in any of those platforms na listed below. Yun lang.
Thank you, Niley.
Thank you so much.